Hey team, it's Daniel here from RX Smart Gear Australia, and today we're going to go through 5 tips to fix your double unders. Alright, double unders, they can be a frustrating movement for some people. We've got 5 quick tips that will help you get that first or get more consistent double unders. Tip number 1, jumping higher. Now we always encourage a high jump when you're doing your double unders, your jump rope in general. We also call it a bound. So what you want to do is bound and rebound. And when you rebound or jump off the floor, you're wanting that height to be as high as possible. With that height, you're buying time. And when you have time, that cable can get around you twice. If you only have a short jump, what you're doing is speeding up the cable. And if you're speeding up the cable, what you're doing is learning at speed. And it's always harder to learn at speed. So by jumping up higher, you're giving the cable more time to get around you, which makes the learning process a lot easier. So how high do you need to jump? We just say higher. Jump higher in order to get that cable around you twice. Give more time for that cable to get around you. All right, tip number 2. Timing of when to jump is also paramount. So if you're jumping with a cable that is out of sync with your bound, you're going to trip up every time. So we say try and get that cable to come almost down by your toes. So with that, it's around about a foot length away from the end of your toes. That cable is going to come and skim down on the floor, and that's your cue to jump. You want to actually be coming off the floor as that cable skims underneath you. If you're jumping early, that cable isn't going to be down by the toes. It might be up by your knees or by your waist, which means that you need to be in the air for longer for that cable to get around you. So essentially what you're doing is waiting for that cable to come down by your toes and then jumping off the floor. And then from there, it's just one and a bit of a rotation in order for you to get that double under. So jump high and jump late. So jump as late as possible and then let that cable rotate around you. So jumping high, jumping late, get it nice and close to the toes. Tip number 3, you might be tripping a lot when you're trying to get that double under. We've already gone through how high to jump. We need to jump higher, but your hands are going to affect how the cable rotates around you. Now with that correct position being that your hands down by your pockets, if I had pants on, I do have pants on, and my hands are down by my pockets, that's a nice comfortable position with my hands underneath my shoulders. Now as soon as I widen my arms, what that does is shortens the cable at your feet. So the wider the arms, the shorter the cable, which can attribute to you tripping. So ensure that you have that nice position with the hand underneath the shoulder, and try not to let those arms go wider, because as soon as those arms go wider, it shortens the cable, which is going to lead to tripping. Tip number 4, the speed of the cable is going to be matched to that height that you're going to be jumping. So now that you are jumping with a lot more height, you have a lot more time. So therefore, you can actually slow down the rotation of the cable. If you have a short jump, you're going to be rotating at a very high velocity and you have a much smaller margin for error. So if you jump nice and tall, you can slow down the cable to match that timing. So it's not a matter of speeding up the cable in order to get that double under. You do have to match it to the height of the bound, but if you slow down that movement, if you slow down the rotation, and that is matched to a nice tall bound, that is going to help get your timing better. So the answer there is don't speed up the cable, slow it down to match that nice tall bound. Tip number 5, this is going to be the game changer for a lot of people. A lot of people will try to learn double unders on a lightweight speed cable. Now with this, we've gone through that you need to jump high and you need to slow down, but having a lightweight speed cable, you need to get tension into it, and the only way to get tension into that cable is by speeding it up or widening your arms. They're 2 things that we've already been through that we don't want to do. So we always recommend a heavier cable. We offer beginner cables that go through to intermediate, then to advanced. The beginner cable is a heavier cable. Now with that heavier cable, it gives you a couple of things. You can feel the cable a little bit heavier, but with that feeling, you can actually control it. And when you're controlling the rotation, you can then speed it up, slow it down, whatever you need to do. As your skill level progresses, you can then go to a lighter cable, but beginners should always start on a heavy cable. It gives you that feedback that you want. It allows you to control it, and you can feel where the rope is in space, whereas with a lightweight cable, it's going to be very hard for you to do that. So go for the buff cable, which is the beginner cable, and work on that until you can get 50 unbroken. And then once you can get 50 unbroken double unders, you can then change to the lighter, which is the Elite, the Ultra, and the Hyper. Well, I hope that was helpful for you guys. Comment below if you have any questions. More than happy to interact with you guys and answer any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All the best, and we'll see you in the gym.